Hello, my name is Corey and I would like to welcome you back to the Clater House. Today is a little bit of a bonus video. Normally I upload on Fridays, but this one is coming out on a Monday. I mentioned in last Friday's video that I had kind of a busy week that I took you along with me for and got some fun vlog content that I wanted to share, but that I was splitting it up into 3 videos because it was kind of a lot. So this is the second video from that week. Similar to how my last video I took you through home goods, this is gonna be another shop with me, but at some different stores. I'm shopping specifically for a client project. So throughout the video, if you hear me reference the project you saw yesterday or the project that you saw, you haven't seen it yet, but you will this Friday because that vlog is gonna be centered around a fun upcoming project. You're gonna get some sneak peeks. So make sure to come back for that one too. This is gonna be a little bit of a longer one as I am including the haul at the end from the entire week. So including the things I got from Home Goods, that'll be at the end. So the timestamps are below if there's a certain part that you're interested in. So let's go ahead and get right into it. We are today gonna go by Joann Fabrics to pick out the fabric for the Ottoman and then also look and see if we can find the fabric for the Roman shades. There's also an upholstery place over here, so if I can't find anything at Joann, I will go to the upholstery place. It's just kind of in the opposite direction, so I hope Joann's has something. And then also while we're out and about, I want to do some decor shopping, like at an antique store. I need to pick up some picture frames from Target. So we're gonna run a couple of errands while we are in Hagerstown today and hope we can find some materials and some decor for the project you saw me working on yesterday. Okay, for the Roman shades, I've got 3 options, 3 bolts right next to each other that I found. There's this one that has more of like a brassy woven throughout. This one more on like the gray side with like a little bit of green. And this one with a little bit more green, but this is more like a printed fabric, whereas these 2 are actually like the woven texture. Here is the curtain fabric with each one of these and the wall color that it would also be up against. I think this one is definitely a little bit too yellowy. I don't think it's the right look. This one I think is my favorite. Like there's colors from this fabric, the curtain fabric in it, and this, but it still gives a little bit more dimension, but it's a little bit more gray than I would want. I was hoping for more tans. And then this one I do like, I just don't like that this is printed. I wish that this fabric was more of a woven material than printed on. This is what I'm trying to match, and I think this is the closest, but it's like as far as texture wise go, I don't like the color. And this one I think color wise is the closest, but it has more gray than like the tan I was going for. So I'm gonna keep looking, but if I can't find anything, this might be our option here. I wish I could find something like this just with tan instead of like a blue green color woven. Also with this rug here, I don't like this, my prime choice, but I do like this option with the rug better. Like the green color from the rug, which you can't really see on camera, matches nicely with the green in this fabric, but I just don't like that this fabric is printed and not actually woven. Okay, you guys, I actually just flipped this one over to the other side. Like I pulled it out and looked at the back, and the back has a lot more of these tones in it that I was looking for. And so I think this would work. The only issue is the width of it. I would either have to have the pattern running up and down, which I wouldn't prefer, or in the middle of it, I'd have to have a seam down the middle where I join it. So I'm gonna keep looking, but I do think this is a great option because of how much it matches what I was originally going for. I'm definitely gonna keep this one on my mind just in case. There's also this tweed that I just found that like the larger stripes have some colors of our fabric in it, and it goes well with the other 2. It just has the gray smaller stripe that we don't really have much other gray in the room. And this is kind of a different like style. I think it could work. This one's just more expensive, but it is a tweed. I think it's a good option, and the stripes would go vertically, which would be what I want for this fabric. So here's another good option that I think could work really, really well. There's this one here that I found. It's a linen, so it's really thin, so I would need to make sure I had a good backing for it to help with light filtering, since it will be a Roman shade. And it has some more gray in it, but it looks really nicely with these two. And it kind of does have some of these tones. I just don't like that it's not as textured and doesn't have some of the same like patterned effect that this weave gives. But color-wise, I think it could work pretty well. Okay, I found my way back to the value fabric section and found this one, which honestly is probably about as close as I'm gonna get. This one is a little bit lighter. It's closer to our wall color, but it's still enough difference that these aren't gonna like blend together. And it gives a really nice contrast with this, so the whole composition of these three would look like that, which I do like. I love the texture. It's not printed, it's an actual texture, and it gives the same look as this does. This gives a very similar look. Comparatively, I have this one, which I do think has more of the deeper tones of this, but texturally, I don't like the texture of this as much. This is on sale, but I don't think it's as discounted as this one. So between the two of these, let me know which one you would pick. I think I'm leaning towards this one, but let me know if you would, between one of the two of these, if it was going in your room, what your preference would be. On another note, I found two options for the Ottoman. I like the pattern in this one, but it's a rougher texture, whereas I like the feeling of this one, but it doesn't give any pattern. This one's a little bit softer. I think it'll be more comfortable, and this one's pretty close, not identical, but pretty close to our curtain fabric, so pulling that in will be nice. And then next to the rug, I think either one could work. I would preferably like something more in this tan color up here than like this, but I think this being a value fabric is my top contender for right now. But I do really like both of these. All right, I changed my mind. I do think I like this one better for the pattern and its different texture variation. I think this is going to be the one for the Ottoman. And I've looked at doing this for the curtain, but these are too similar for me. I think I do want something with more contrast between the curtain and the Roman shade, to kind of bridge the gap between the difference in these. I think that's kind of what I want. And they're similar weave, and there's no pattern in this. I don't know, but I do think I found the Ottoman fabric. I just got done at Joann's, and I did get one of the fabrics that I showed. I got the this pattern fabric for the Ottoman. They had exactly the amount that I needed, so that was perfect. It was in the value section, so we saved some money. And although I picked two other options for the Roman shades, neither one of them had enough yardage. So unfortunately, although I loved both options, neither one would work. I don't have the time today to run back over to the upholstery place, which was over by the dermatologist's office that I had an appointment at this morning. So I may have to go to another, either Joann in Winchester or Frederick or find a day to come back over here to go to the upholstery place. However, if I get fabric from the upholsterer, it's gonna be much more expensive than if I got it from Joann. So I may also look online and see if I can find something that I can get like a sample of before like fully purchasing the 4 yards that I need. But right now I am at Target to pick up a few. I need to get some picture frames, one for my house and then one for this same client. But I stopped for lunch because I have a really bad habit of not eating breakfast and then turning into a complete monster by 12:30. So I'm addressing that situation because if one person looks at me sideways, I will cuss them out. And they don't deserve that, and that's not the kind of person that I want to be in this world. But I get so hangry and I just never learn. So I'm addressing that situation before I go in here. So we're gonna go in, pick up the picture frames. I may look at Target's fall decor. Like I said, I don't have a ton of time, so I probably won't do a ton of looking, but I may see what they have. And also my husband wants me to look at the cardigans, so I'm gonna make a stop by there too. But after we are done at Target, we are gonna go to the antique store that was on my agenda for today. So we're gonna go to my favorite one in Martinsburg to see if I can find anything for the same project, or if I come across anything for my home. I'm not gonna complain about that either, but I'm primarily looking for the same client. So we're gonna go in and grab these picture frames and then head to the antique store. I first came across this rug, which has some brown and some green stripes in it. And I love the colors, I love the textures. It was a good size. The only thing I did not like about this rug were the tassels along the edge. I'd considered it for my sitting room, but with my dog's fur being dark, and I know the little one would rip these tassels to shreds. Next, I came across these little poof ottomans. They've had them for a while, and I love these. I like that it has kind of a maroon stripe. They're really textured. They're super solid. Like I would expect them to be super squishy and like you fall to the ground when you sit in them, but no, they're very solid. I didn't get them today, but I am keeping them in mind for both a project in my own house and my client's upcoming project. Next, I acquired the picture frame that I came for. I did only end up getting one of them instead of 2 due to the edge of one of them being a little damaged. I then made a very exciting discovery when I came across these Hearth and Hand shower curtains. With the subtle pattern and the color that these give, I think I could use 2 of these to make my Roman shades for my upcoming project. I then found my way into the clearance section, and they had a lot of cool stuff on clearance. One of them being these marble canisters. They were on clearance for $10, and I've been wanting a salt cellar for my kitchen to keep salt out on my counter, one with a lid so it doesn't get dust in it. And I thought these could potentially be a good option for that. I then saw this Linwood cube in the brown color. I was sad to see it on clearance because it means they're not gonna have it anymore, and I think it's a great piece. But right next to it were these terracotta vases that are just like the ones I was talking about for your fall seasonal styling back in my home goods video on Friday. I also came across these artwork pieces from Hearth and Hand, and I thought they could look super cute layered together on a wall. I would probably just use one of the smaller pieces with the bigger piece rather than 2, but I thought both would go really well together. I love how I said I didn't have the time, but then I made the time to look through there. However, I made an exciting discovery and found these shower curtains that I didn't have the sample. I didn't take the samples in with me, and I knew that I should have. But I might see if I can use those as the curtains, and if not, or the Roman shades, and if not, I'll just bring them back and return them. And then I found this fun clearance space that I will share with you when we get home. I'll share everything that I bought this week. Yeah, I'll share everything that I bought this week when we get home and I'm done antique shopping. I'll do a whole haul of like everything from home goods that I got the other day, the stuff I just bought today at Target. I'll talk more about the fabric, maybe. We'll see if I even find anything at the antique store. I'll share that in like a haul afterwards. After leaving Target, I made it to one of my favorite antique stores, Creekside Antiques in Martinsburg, West Virginia. And they must have just had an auction shortly before I came, because this section back here is often filled with big pieces and furniture and things like that, but it was pretty empty. And then back in the auction section with all the little pieces, he was moving stuff around and setting up all of these Crocs. The store in general has so many Crocs, and this one back here in the auction section were just a few of the ones he was putting out. They've had this huge, beautiful mantle every time I come, and if I had a place in my house to put it, I would definitely bring this home because it is beautiful. But on top of it were these two cast iron teapots that reminded me of what I was talking about in my Home Goods video last week. At Home Goods, they had this like aluminum tin cauldron that had trick or treat punched out in the sides of it, and I brought up coming to antique stores to grab cast iron pots to use in place of that in your fall/Halloween decorating and it achieving more of an authentic look. And this place had so many. They had some that actually looked like little cauldrons. This one had a stirrer. It was cast iron and like brass or copper. There was this other one that was really small that really looked like a cauldron. And then they also had just all different sizes of cast iron pots. A lot of them were a little bit more expensive than the one at Home Goods, but they are so much better quality and worth the extra money in my opinion. They had small ones, they had big ones. Some of them had some more details, like had feet or some handles on the side that made them kind of in between a cast iron pot and a cauldron. They also had some brass ones. In the brass ones, they also had all sorts of different sizes. Now, the brass ones were definitely more expensive than the cast iron ones, but in both instances, I think these achieve a much more authentic like cauldron look and would give you so much more of a cool Halloween vibe than the aluminum one from Home Goods. They even had this brass, like not necessarily cauldron, but like this bowl tray thing that I think would be really cool at Halloween time to serve candy to your trick-or-treaters in and achieve that same witchy look. Another thing that I think could achieve that same like apothecary witchy vibe is like some mortar and pestles just like these. This booth was the only booth here that I saw them, but I have seen them at any other antique store I've gone to, mortar and pestle. So I think they do a really good job of like achieving that apothecary witchy vibe too. Also in that Home Goods video, I talked about busts. They had like a Frankenstein and Lady Frankenstein bust that I suggested turning away from and instead getting a real bust online or at an antique store or something like that. And I came across one while I was here this day. This definitely is not something I would want looking at me and my house and achieves that spooky Halloween vibe. So again, I'm gonna reiterate, get the real deal, not something that a store is trying to imitate when you're doing your Halloween decorating. Also, apologies for some of these flickering lights. It will get better at some point, but half of the store was really poorly lit. Another thing for fall I didn't mention in my Home Goods video was that I think Crocs are great for fall, but that's because I think Crocs are great all the time. This booth always has this shelf here that has some that are like discounted that he's trying to get rid of that are an awesome price, but just in general, this place has so many Crocs and jugs and vessels, and I would love to take all of them home. Just like you saw with the auction room, they just had so many. I had a hard time finding Crocs when I lived back in Wyoming, but out here on the East Coast, I find them everywhere, and I always want to buy them because I think they are great pieces, but especially in the fall. One that I came across in particular was this like glazed ceramic Croc style water filter dispenser thing. I knew that they existed, but I'd never actually seen one, and it was so cool. Another thing I haven't seen before is a copper candle snuffer. I came across this one and I loved the details along the handle, the ridges, the finial, if that's what it's called, at the end of it. I really like the details in the handle, but I did not like the actual snuffer part of this one. For me, it didn't match the style of the rest of it, so I did pass on this one because I have several brass ones at home. I also came across this brass candle sconce. If I had a place in my house for a single sconce, I would definitely grab this. I loved the finial at the bottom. I know that this one is called a finial, but I thought the shape of that finial was really cool. I love the mounting hardware where it just sits in there so you could pull it out and carry it around your house back when they didn't have electricity. Or this even says ship's wall mount sconce. So I wonder if it was maybe for a ship to mount to the wall. So as the ship rocked, the candle would stay upright. I thought this was a super cool piece. And if I can think of a place for a single sconce in my house, I'm gonna go back and get this. Also, I came across these toile teacup sets. I'm not a big fan of like the blue and white toile and chintz and chinoiserie. They're not my favorite in the blue and white all the time, but I do love them in the brown and the cream. I have a serving bowl at my house, so I thought about bringing these home, and even if I didn't use them for teacups, use them as like a trinket dish or something, but I really didn't need them. And then I came across this dish set and this pitcher as well that I loved, and I just love the brown and cream toile, but I really didn't need it, so I did decide against these. In the same booth as the toile teacups was this leather horse. I see it every time since I first started coming here, and I think it's so cool, and I'm surprised it hasn't sold. I really don't have a place for it in my own house. I would love to make a place, but I think it would be really cool in like a man cave, or especially like a little boy's room. This would be so cute as decor on a shelf. If your kids aren't too rough, they could probably even use it as a toy, but I think it's definitely more of a decor piece that's really cool. Also, this brass microscope was so interesting. I thought it was so cool. If your kid is into science, I thought this would be a great piece for their room, for maybe an older kid that's in school, or if you are in a science-related field, this could be a really unique piece to bring a lot of personality into your decor as an adult. And if I had a scientist as a client, I would have grabbed this to put in their project so fast. But behind it in this cabinet were, again, just so many Crocs. Also, this place always has a lot of tobacco pipes, which again, I think would be really cool in like a bar or like an adult gentleman's space, man cave, something like that. These tobacco pipes would be a really cool touch to add to that, especially for somebody who does smoke tobacco. I don't know that I would use them, but they could be a cool personal touch to inject some personality into a space and represent somebody who does smoke tobacco or cigars or something like that. There was also this potting table. Well, I don't know if it was a potting table, but that's what I would use it for. I think on a covered porch or a sunroom or in a greenhouse. If you're someone who has a greenhouse, this would be beautiful as a potting table or just your house in general. But I loved the leaves as the handles. It was a beautiful color, and I saw it in my mind as a potting table. There was also these two wooden bowls that I thought would be really cool stacked just like this on a dining room table or an island or something like that, with like a linen napkin coming out of them, even used stacked like this as a fruit bowl. However, each bowl was $65, and so I could not justify $130 for two bowls. So I did leave these behind, but I thought together they could create a really cool styling opportunity. I then made my way through my favorite booth. This lady goes to France once every year or once every other year and brings a ton of antiques back from France. So a lot of her booth is actually French antiques, which is really cool. She has a lot of beautiful artwork, and this one in particular I loved the frame on, but she always has some of the most beautiful artwork. She also has this table that every time she's there, I ask if I can buy from her because I love the simplicity of it with the details on the legs, and she always tells me that it is not for sale, unfortunately. I also came across this, which was really cool. I have no idea what a bee skip is, so if you do, if you can tell me what this is, please leave me a comment below, because I thought this piece was really beautiful, but I had no clue what it was. She also has a lot of fun little items, like this pair of silver salt and pepper shakers. I thought it was so cute that they were the same thing in two different sizes. I thought placed on top of a stack of books or something, this set could be really cute together. Also, this little trivet was super cool. I don't know what you would put on it if there's an iron this small, but it was literally the size of the palm of my hand and it was so cute. She had a bunch of these little cream dishes that I really loved. And she has a bunch of little crocks. I've gotten a few from her that I love and I like to use as bud vases. She's had this foie gras pot for a while with this lion on the side. And one of my favorite YouTubers is Brandy Jackson. And I know that she loves lions. So I think of her every time I come in here and see this foie gras pot. She also brings back a ton of perfumes and soaps from France, and it's so cool to see some of the packaging and the way they used to do some of their body care. And she also brings back a ton of costume pieces, a lot of shoes and hats and gloves, and she just has a lot of cool clothing and costume pieces from the performers there in Paris. She also has a ton of beautiful jewelry, and right next to the jewelry case was this artwork that I absolutely adored. It was a little out of my budget, but I have 3 dogs myself, and I would have loved to have brought this home. And then underneath the artwork were these 2 dog bowl dishes, like the same stoneware Crocs, but they were dog bowls, and I thought they were so sweet. Colleen, the booth owner, and I have talked before about our love of hands, and she had this beautiful brass hand that I really thought about bringing home. In the same vein as Halloween, like we were talking about, in her booth, she had this like little tiny broom and also this other broom. And I was talking about using real brooms instead of this like fake plasticky broom that they had at Home Goods the other day. And I thought something like these 2 pieces that she had would be awesome in your fall and Halloween decor. Definitely more authentic than the plastic stuff. She also had these little cauldrons. There was 2 of them tucked back and they had feet and little handles and they looked just like little cauldrons that I thought would be super cute for Halloween. A couple of months ago, she brought in this cutting board and I'd seen that this time she dropped the price on it. It is so beautiful. I would never use it as an actual cutting board, but like as a tray or even mounted on the wall as artwork or layered in with some leaning artwork could be really beautiful. I love it so much. And when it's in my budget, this is a piece that I will definitely grab if she still has it because the age on it is just stunning. Every time I come to this antique store, her booth is the one I save for last. If it's not busy. If it's busy, I rush there first to make sure I get any of the good stuff that she has. But in general, I like to save it for last because everything she has is just such a treat. And I could spend hours alone looking through every single piece that she has in her booth. And if she's ever there, we definitely get to talking. And she loves to tell stories about the pieces that she has.
She hopes for a clear view before the day is done. What can you do when you're head over heels in love? No need to fight, but it's keeping her up all through the night. No end in sight.
Okay, stop. You, here. Okay. Here, for you. Yes. Of course, as soon as I got them settled, the battery in my camera died, but we're back at the house. Okay. You. There you go. Lay down. And you. Lay down. Okay. Stop. Oh my gosh. Okay. This is Maple, like the syrup. You would have seen her in the part 2 video of the makeover series that I uploaded. But I also have 2 other dogs whom you have not met. This one is Jet, and then the bigger lab mix that you saw. That is Chula. And we are back at the house now, so I figured I would do a little bit of a haul for you from everything that I got this week, also like from Home Goods on Monday when I went there, and then from today, everything that I got. Some of it's for me, some of it's for the client whose project you saw me work on, but I got a few things to share with you. The first being from Home Goods. It's a vase, or a vessel, if you will. Bigger than I remember. Always better. So it's this vase here. It reminds me of a lot of the like vintage vases that you find online. Like I have a vintage vase that's very similar. It's a little bit different shape, but I paid, well, I didn't pay this much more, but it was $210, and I fortunately got it on sale, and then I had some points to redeem, so I only paid $45 for it. But originally, that vase, which is a vintage vase, which honestly, I'm not really convinced that it's actually vintage anyway, but that's neither here nor there. I'd buy it again in a heartbeat. Is over $200, whereas this one, I think, was $17. It gives the look of being vintage. You can tell like it's not vintage, but it replicates that look really well. It was super affordable, and so this one was for me. That was the first item from Home Goods. And then also from Home Goods, I got this pedestal bowl, which I did share on Monday with you. I did share it, but it's this was $17, same price as the vessel, but this one, I personally am not a huge fan of pedestal bowls. I think they were a really big trend back like 2-3 years ago, and like people do still use them, but I've never been the biggest fan of them personally. However, I really liked this one because of the, like, again, it feels like you can see the ridges from like somebody's hands like pulling ceramics. I used to do ceramics in high school. It was my favorite class. It was one of the only classes I went to school for. And I just love handmade ceramics. And this one gives that same look. Like you can see those ridges. It's got some nice like color variation, and it's just really nice. I don't see myself starting a pedestal bowl collection. This honestly might be one of the only pedestal bowls I ever buy. Like I mentioned in that video, for fall, I could put some acorns or some pine cones, or even at Christmas time, like put some chestnuts in here and style it that way. Like I can use it in my seasonal decorating, but I could also use it all year long. I really liked this one, and I don't typically like pedestal bowls. Additionally, the last item I got from Home Goods was this basket here. It's a huge basket. It was on clearance for $20 for this size basket. I thought that was a great price. It's got some handles that go all the way, like this goes all the way down. It's not just like connected at the top, so I felt like it would be sturdy to carry heavy laundry. I love the colors of it, and there were several uses that I could find, so I grabbed this guy too. And that's all that I got from Home Goods the other day. And then from Joann, I got the one fabric I was telling you about when I went there today. This one here, it's got like this like chevron, like very subtly, like just the way that the fabric is woven. It's got like a chevron detail in it. I wanted to do something that was subtly green. I didn't want like something that was full out green. I wanted something more like mossy, brownish green, and that's exactly what this is. It definitely has that green color that we were wanting. It sits well on the rug. I was just bummed that I could not also find a fabric for the Roman shades. Well, I did find it, but they didn't have as much yardage as I needed, so I was bummed about that until we went to Target, and while I was there, I came across these, it's a shower curtain, and I think It's a beige, which is nice. It brings in the tan color that I was hoping for. It has a slight pattern. Now it's 72 by 72 inches. So for the big window in that room, I would have to have a seam somewhere. I'll just like incorporate the seams into the design of the shade. I'll make it make sense. I was pleasantly surprised to have found these, and I hope that they work for what we need them to. Also, while I was at Target, I was looking at all that clearance stuff and I found this vessel as well. It was on originally $25 and it was on clearance for $12.50. I really like this like large like trophy look in vessels. Yes, thank you. I thought it would be really nice because I have a vintage Italian marble lamp. It's super like feminine and it's beautiful, but a lot of the decor that I have does not go with it. A lot of my vessels that I have are darker, whereas this is a lighter glaze, similar to the marble. It's a lighter color. This is a little bit more like feminine detail-ish. I just thought that it would pair nicely with that lamp to kind of bring together like a whole composition. So I got this and it was on clearance. Then at the antique store, the first one I got was this crock. It's just a great size and it's an awesome shape. I have a lot of the crocks that I have are like straight up sides, or they have, they're straight up and then it curves in right at the top and has a little lip, whereas this one has a little bit more shape to the body, and then it has like this beaded detail in it, and it's kind of like a brownish greenish color. This definitely has like a little bit more of a mossy brown. Very much gave like olive atelier vibes, and for the size of it, it was an awesome price. And then I also got this crock, and this one is a redware crock, which I don't really know what that means. I'm assuming it has something to do with like the way that it's glazed. I've seen them labeled redware before, and they always have this like shimmery iridescent look to them. And so I don't know if it has something to do with the glaze, but also like the clay is red inside. So I don't know exactly what it means, but it usually is a little bit more expensive from what I've noticed from like something like this. Like this one here was 18, and then this one was 25, which normally for like this size, I would think would be a little expensive for me personally. But I've seen this one every time I've gone, and I admire it every time, and it was still there, and I haven't been in a little bit. So I figured I would grab it because I do love it. I love the iridescentness and I love the shape. Then for the client that you saw, and I know that client is going to watch this video, and so she's getting a little bit of a sneak peek. I don't know how she's gonna feel about these items, but I got the silver quail set. These are actually a set of salt and pepper shakers, but they're so cute. Like, I love that they're the same, but they're different sizes. This client, she loves birds, and she has a salt and pepper shaker collection, like right outside that same room. She has a cabinet full of salt and pepper shakers. So I thought this was a cute little touch. And although they are salt and pepper shakers, we're not using them as that. They're not going in that cabinet. They're gonna go in the bookshelves or on the table or something. But I thought like on a stack of books, they could look really nice, like nestled together, just like that. A lot of the other metal in the room is that antique brass. So this like antiqued patinaed, I think it's silver or pewter. It doesn't say. I'm gonna assume silver, but I thought these were cute and I can't wait to style them in those bookshelves. I then got this jug. I have a lot, okay, this is a lot. This has become a vessel haul for me. I love them. I just love vessels. I think they can be sculpted. Hello? I think they can be sculptural. I think they can layer really nicely. I think you can leave them as they are. You can put foliage in them. I think they're great. And I don't have one like this. I have a lot of crocks and vases. I don't have any jugs. And this one I loved. It looks more red on camera, but it's definitely like a dark chocolatey brown. I actually bought it for bookshelf styling. I have a project that I'm gonna do in here at some point, and I thought this would look really nice styled in those bookshelves. So this commences my jug collection. And then I got this little soup bowl, like with the handle here and everything. I thought this would be great. It was only $5. Had it been any more than $5, I would not have gotten it, but it was only $5. This one I thought would be really nice to fill with like sand or salt or something like that and put in incense, use it as an incense holder. I've seen a lot of people do that, like take bowls or little dishes and fill them with salt and put an incense stick in it. But I personally have never tried that, but I like the look of it better than a traditional incense holder. That's what I got this for, is to fill with salt or something and stick incense in as an incense holder, or just as a dish on like a coffee table or a book or something. This is like a little layering piece. Okay, the last piece that I got from the antique store, surprise, surprise, is another vessel. Now this one, I loved. I don't have anything like this one. It has the little detail handles on the sides. It's a black ceramic. It's very matte. It's got like a little bit of detail there on the handle, but other than that, it's super simple. Again, I thought this would be really nice layered with that lamp and that like trophy shaped vessel that I got from Target. Like it kind of gave that same energy. So again, to help tie all of those pieces in, but with like a darker element. And also this one was only $6. In our yard, we have some peonies. I thought this would be perfect for peonies. It literally says on here, flower pot. So I got this specifically for like fresh flowers and to style with flowers in it. And then one last thing I want to share with you. This is actually from, like, came in the mail this week. It's from Etsy. I love Etsy. I love Etsy. It has some great pieces. And these are one of a kind. They are from Turkey. These are for me. They're not for anybody else. These are solely for me. They were shipped to me from Turkey, and they are pillow covers. This family, it's a mom and daughter, and they collect vintage rugs and resell them, and any of the rugs that are like super old or damaged or not salvageable or usable as a rug, they will convert into pillow covers or like upholstered ottomans, kind of like what I'm going to do in this client's home, but they'll do that using rugs. So I got they're one of a kind usually, but these, they were selling them, they weren't selling as a set, they were selling them two separately. So I'm assuming these came from the same rug. I didn't see any others on their site. I saw some others that maybe had like if it was a square pillow, like one corner of it maybe had like this pattern. So they like cut this rug up into multiple pieces, but there were only two that I saw of this particular, and I bought them both. They are, because they're kind of a rug, they're not like the most, like you're not gonna like take a nap with your head on this, but I mean, super nice in some armchairs, like a set of armchairs like I'm planning to do in the sitting room in there. If you watched my color theory video, you would have heard me talk about the travertine, painting the fireplace. This is similar to this color in this travertine, and then this brown in here is similar to the color that I painted the fireplace on the other side. So most likely these will go in that room. But I love these. Just Etsy in general, I love. It's a go-to for me, especially for art, pillow covers, fabrics, things like that. Etsy is a great place for any of those types of things. But that was everything I got for my haul. You can tell I love vessels and I love the color brown. I did not find a lot of other items for my client because we haven't styled the shelves yet. I don't know exactly what all we need, but I did find the little birds, so I'm excited about those. And when I know more of what we need for those shelves, I'll take you shopping with me for those, and we'll have a more diverse selection of items, not just crocks and vessels and stuff. If you made it this far into the video, thank you so much for watching. This is a little bit different content than what I've uploaded so far on my channel. I've really enjoyed filming and editing it, so if you've liked this style of content, please make sure to give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you have not. I want to take a moment before I officially close out this video and express some gratitude. When I'm filming the intro and outro of this video, it is Thursday, August 22nd, and yesterday on the 21st, my channel hit 100 subscribers, and this morning I woke up to 2 more. So I just want to say thank you so much for everyone who has subscribed and commented and liked so far. Every time I have gotten a new subscriber, I immediately run to my husband and announce, I'm at 67 subscribers, or whatever the number is. It makes me so genuinely excited every single time I get a notification from any of you. So thank you so much for watching my videos, coming back and subscribing. It really does mean the world to me. And if you haven't subscribed, please do, and I will continue to get just as excited every single time. I hope you'll come back next Friday to see an upcoming project, a little sneak peek. I made a huge mistake that set the project back a couple of weeks, but I am excited to share it with you, and I hope you'll come back for that sneak peek. Until then, I am wishing you all my best. This will be the last DIY that I'm doing for a client. There'll be plenty of DIYs in my own home. Fun fact about this room, this is the room that I was proposed to in. I royally messed up.